You know, it has already been mentioned, but this morning we acknowledge and celebrate the success of over 1,700 graduates of TCC. And if you'll notice, somewhere on one there, this is also the 60th year of TCC. So congratulations, TCC, for 60 years of great success. What you may not know is TCC, with nearly 45,000 students, is the second largest university in the Commonwealth. That's huge. Now, I am very honored to have the opportunity to speak this morning. TCC's motto is, "From here, you can go anywhere." And Frank, your comments, so you're going to hear some of the similar ones from me, but that notion of from here to go anywhere, and she's already been mentioned a couple times, but Janessa Richard, the idea that at 17, she's graduating with an associate's degree before she graduates from high school is a real accomplishment. Congratulations. And one of the things I'm trying to do in college is to make sure that this dual enrollment opportunity expands. And if you can get a Pell Grant and you're eligible for a Pell Grant, why not be able to use that in high school to get a jump start on college? So we hope there's going to be a lot more Janessas going forward. Now, when it comes to delivering commencement speeches, and I've had the opportunity as kind of a governor and senator to do a few, I have learned over the years to take the advice of that famous British statesman, Winston Churchill, who said, "Be sincere, be concise, and be seated." So, like Frank, I want to offer you three quick pieces of advice, and then I'll get out of the way so we can make sure we get to the main event, which is about celebrating your success. Now, I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. And, all right, you can relate. And you know, I realized at that moment, a long time ago, before you were born, who just stood up, young lady, that I was going to have opportunities to do things and go places that my parents could never even imagine. But that first piece of advice is actually the same advice that Frank gave. You got to not be afraid to fail. Now, I know for parents who are thinking about students who are graduating, the notion of failure isn't necessarily something that you want to acknowledge on graduation day. But as somebody who stands before you, as somebody who's been in business and governor and senator, I've probably learned more from failures than I have from success. And that really is what is unique about America. I always remember, I got out of college, then went to law school, decided after a year out of law school that I'd go into business. So I took my life savings, $5,000, invested them in a little energy startup company. I went to work for that company, and in 6 weeks, I helped that company go totally bankrupt. I then went into real estate. Took me 6 months to fail at that. So, Frank, not unlike you, I was at the age of 26, flat broke, living out of my car. But this was back in 1982, and I got a third opportunity. Friends of mine told me about this brand new technology, cellular telephones. All my law school classmates were working at these big fancy law firms, and they all said to me, "Warner, you are so crazy. Go get a real job. Who's going to want a car telephone?" They're still practicing law. I went on to form Nextel and a series of other companies. So that also means I am the only speaker you will ever hear, and especially only politician, that says, even when I'm talking, leave your cell phones on. You know, you hear an annoying sound if they go off, I hear cha-ching, cha-ching. But the remarkable thing about America is, and one of the things that we've got to strive for, is I didn't get one chance. I didn't get two chances. I got 3 shots. And somehow in 2015, we've got to make sure, because we can't guarantee everyone in this country success, but we ought to guarantee everybody that fair shot. And I acknowledge that if I hadn't been a white male with the appropriate education, I might not have gotten 3 shots or 2 shots or 1 shot. And one of the most important things, particularly in 2015, is that regardless, and again, TCC is the greatest example of the kind of changing face of Virginia and America, we've got to make sure that everybody in America, in Virginia, gets that fair shot. And if you get that fair shot, don't be afraid to fail. Go for it. Never forget that. Second piece. In these changing economic and political times, we need some new thinking. I work in a place that's fairly dysfunctional at this point. I know when you turn on the TV and Congress comes on, you want to throw a shoe at the TV. I feel the same way. I'm inside the TV. But here's what's good. Here's what gets me psyched, and this is obviously a graduating group that ranges from 18 to, I believe, 74. But the vast majority of you, if your average age is 31, are part of what is called the millennials generation. Millennials are 18 to 34-year-olds. And the remarkable thing about the millennials they are now the largest age cohort in America. They have pushed me and my people, baby boomers, off the stage. I know. And I'm ready for you to take over. The fact is, 80 million millennials. Within 10 years, they're going to be 75% of the workforce. And the cool thing about the millennials they are the least prejudiced, most open-minded generation in American history. They are the generation as well that is comfortable with technology, that's open to disruptive change, that's not willing to kind of just go by the old ways. And for those of us who are involved in public policy and politics, we've got a lot to learn from you because you're confident. You believe that you want to work in firms that do well. You want to be consumers of items that actually are produced by companies that do well. And so what we've got to be thinking about as you take on this leadership is that we do, as well as having responsibilities to ourselves, we still have enormous responsibilities to our community. And that's my second piece of advice. You're graduating during a time when our country's political and policy debates are pretty darn intense. And it's a lot easier to simply turn off the television and say, I don't want to be involved. But when you turn off the television, all you do is you turn the political debate in this country over to the loudest voices on either end of the political extreme. And quite honestly, as somebody who's been a business guy and a political guy, that's not where things get done. So I urge you to participate in our nation's debates, but do it in a respectful manner. Because we're living in a nation today that engages in, frankly, too much confrontation and too little conversation. And too many Americans have become cynical and distrustful of our government. The amazing thing is, you graduates today can access more information on that cell phone in your pocket than your parents or grandparents could access in a whole lifetime. There's more information just on that phone. Yet in this age of iPhones and iPads, it seems like more and more people, particularly in politics, it's harder for them to look beyond the I and to think about the we. We've become, in certain ways, technologically better connected, but in so many ways, at least on the political front, seem to be more divided. Now, don't misunderstand me. Disagreement, rigorous debate about the big issues of the day and the challenges we face is both healthy and appropriate, particularly in a democracy like America's. But we should be able to debate the critical issues that face us as a nation and as a community without questioning each other's faith or commitment or connection to our country. And if there's one thing I can tell you, as somebody who's been involved still in business longer than politics, but politics for a long time, no one in politics, and I mean no one, Neither political party has a monopoly on virtue or truth or patriotism. So for America to remain a great nation, we need graduates like yourselves who are willing to be engaged, to be open-minded, to recognize the willingness to step up and take the place of pushing us baby boomers out of the way a little bit, and take that notion of the diversity and the openness to transformative change that will really allow America to continue to be a great nation. Third piece of advice. You can go into that applause there. I will show you're ready to go on that. Now, this is the most important one. And if you listen, I'll sit down pretty quickly. Call your mother. Because the truth is, as you sit here and celebrate class of 2015, if you think about it, it's great what you've done, but you didn't get here alone. You didn't get here alone. So after this ceremony, call your mother, call your father, call your girlfriend, your husband, your brother, your sister. Seek out that special person, whether they're here in this hall or in the community. Seek them out and tell them thank you and tell you love them. Don't tweet it. Don't email it. Actually call or write them a handwritten note and say thank you for helping me get here. See, not so bad. I didn't even give you a full Senate filibuster speech. So remember, don't be afraid to fail. Recognize that in this country, a great challenge and opportunity. It's your country is every bit as much as mine. Be involved in that policy debate. Make sure our country goes forward. And always, always, always remember, call your mother. Congratulations, class of 2015.